This is the instructor's introduction video for light and color. So of course you're going to want to, this is a read-only learning unit. So there's not, well, there's a PDF that I'll go over in a minute that you need to read, but there's no videos of a lecture. There's no PowerPoint lectures or videos of me talking about light and color. I've just curated and collected a lot of great information that I want you to either read about, like all the text on the various pages, or there's lots of really great videos that are required for you to read. So this is a 2-minute really interesting video that talks about the history of color and how certain important people throughout history have had an effect on our relationship to color, and then just how colors were made and all sorts of really great things. So it's just a brief history of color, and then a couple of other references if you want to get more into the history of color. These are the overviews, our main topics. We're going to be discussing how artists use light and color to kind of create shape and space and form. Some of the principles about color theory, I'll introduce you to a little bit about that. And then just to think about how artists are using color as a representational and symbolic tool. So you're watching the instructor's introduction now, but here it is again. So you're going to download this PDF and read about color and light, which will also introduce you to a little bit about the history of color. So that will give you some insight, the value of color in the sense from light to dark, how things are represented, how artists choose to use color, different ideas about highlight, shadow, all that kind of stuff. Historically, how white and lighter colors were used to create the light in a painting. So really interesting information about not only how color and light are used in paintings, but also how the contrast, so here's a black and white photograph, but the contrast of light and dark and how that, again, the symbolism of how color influences the way that we see the world and how artists use color. So you're going to want to obviously read that PDF. Not only will, so this week we'll have the typical weekly quiz and the midterm exam. So the midterm exam will cover the first 5 modules. And so we have the typical weekly quiz, the midterm exam, and then we just have one discussion post, which I'll go over in a second. So lots of, like I was saying, lots of really great videos. So you're reading all this great information about color. This is an awesome 7-minute video where they talks about the effects of color. And one of the people that's interviewed talks about sort of like the 3 types of associations with color. And that kind of comes from ideas around universal associations with colors. And then of course, like there's cultural associations with colors and how we define them and respond to them. And then there's the individual's relationship to color. So there's a lot of great information in the 7 minutes. So again, I want you to watch this video. Then I kind of got into looking into how Pixar uses light and color, because obviously their films are amazing and fun and emotional. So there's a lot of great information that I gathered about how Pixar uses color and light. And so you're going to want to watch these 2 videos. Neither one of them are very long, but it really does make you think about, A, the skill of the artisans that work for Pixar, and then also the thoughtfulness around color and light in relationship to how it then affects us when we're watching these drawn images that are then turning into the movies that then, you know, affect our emotions and get us completely involved into something that's literally just color and light. Light and shadow. How does an artist use light to help to keep us out of the dark? So this is a great 4-minute video that, again, introduces you to a couple of artists that I think are important to know about and the different ways that artists use light. One of the artists is Dan Flavin, who's an interesting artist who literally uses fluorescent light tubes mostly as his artwork. So you'll watch both videos, the light and shadow video and then the video where a couple of curators are talking about Dan Flavin's work. There's a bunch of terms that I've already given for you to help you navigate the learning information. Oh, this is a painting by Gerhard Richter, who's someone who's a really important painter in the 60s, 70s, 80s. So he's a modern artist. His use of color and the way he explored color is really, really important, again, in the context of art history. So you might want to check more out about him. And then here's some terms. Here's a video that talks about his use of color and his interest in thinking about how we see color and the various tones. And a couple of other links about him that might be helpful if you're drawn to his work and his ideas. And then I'm going to introduce you to Mary Cassatt and her creative process. So you're going to want to watch this great 5-minute video that is like a biography about her, and then another video about her specific creative process, and then some more videos if you're interested in learning more about Mary Cassatt. Chuck Close is another person who his work is really driven by color and the contrast of color, and so he's one of my favorite artists to also I want you to know about. So watch this 3-minute video where he talks about his work. Be sure to read all this information that I've collected for you, and then a couple of other videos if you want to learn more about him. And then this idea of optical mixing, which is something that Chuck Close uses, and it's again had a big influence on how paintings went from being created in this very traditional way to the beginning of what turned into abstract expressionism. And so you're going to learn about pointillism and this idea of how artists use color to influence the viewer's eyeballs and the way our eyes take in color and light. So some really interesting information in this video. These are great links that take you off of Canvas to learn more about these styles of painting that have been incredibly important in these ideas around color and light, and Chuck Close's creative process. And then a really interesting video about where he talks about why he uses this way of painting on the grid. And then finally, a bunch of helpful links that you can access and to just, again, explore these concepts around color and light. So lots of really great videos that I encourage you to check out. So for this week, like I said, we've got the vocabulary that will be hopefully a useful tool. So you're going to want to listen to this I think it's a 2-minute video where I go over the requirements. Be sure to respond to 2 of your classmates' posts. And then there's the weekly quiz. And then the midterm. And the midterm exam is only open to you guys from September 28th to October 4th. So be sure to take the midterm exam. You've got a whole week to do it. If you have any questions, please let me know. But it's required to take the midterm exam, so I need for you to be on top of it and be mindful of how this week unfolds. Keep me posted with any questions on this learning unit. Thank you.